Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place to be for tips and tools to help you do business better, to help you build a profitable business that's fun to run, and to help you take the hassle out of your hustle. And today and every Tuesday, we have Terry Johnson online coming in to help us make sense of social media, make sense of digital marketing, and keeping us up to date on everything that is happening in the news with those topics. And so today we are going to dive into GDPR, what it is, and why you need to know about it, because this is important.
Carlos says no audio. All right, no audio. Hold on, Carlos.
And let me make sure that I'm not hearing you. I have audio.
You have it? Carlos says no audio. So before we start.
I got audio on Facebook.
All right. Let me double check.
Yeah, Carlos, I check your stuff, Carlos. I think we're good over here. At least I'm hearing it.
I hear it too. So he says I can hear you, but it's low.
Okay, but Kim says she can hear, but it's low.
Right.
And mine just says
it's loud. On? Carlos says now it's on. Okay, so can you guys hear us before we start?
Yeah, and it might have been just a delay too, so could be.
Yeah. Let me double check all my settings that's going on in the background. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Now, let me check one more thing, guys. I want to make sure that you're hearing us. He said it was hard reading lips. Carlos, you are so funny. And I think I clicked on something I wasn't supposed to, but now I'm going to fix it. Okay, so we're going to get started. Guys, let us know if there's a sound problem, because we do check.
Yep,
some of the stuff you said was funny. We are checking, this is an interactive show. This is what live is about. So, you have to pivot. You have things going on in the background, technical issues, all of that. So let us know if you can hear and see us clearly, because I'm looking on my iPad and things look okay to me, but that just could be me. My camera is going a little...
You're fine.
Hey Jason, sound is good to go. So the tech guy, the tech sound and the guy is here, Jason Franco. So if he says sound is good to go, how's video, Jason?
I'm thinking it's good.
Before we get started, because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Let me know if the video is clear.
Clear on my end.
He says LOLO. I was like, I don't know what to call you. The tech guy, the sound guy, the video guy, You'll tell me what to call you. Okay, so Jason, the expert, Jason Franco, the expert, said it's good to go. So we are going to get started. So today's show is about GDPR. And I always want to say GDRP. It sounds better than me, but my brain is like going... So it's GDPR, and you may have heard a lot of talk about it lately. If you haven't, you're going to get the basics today. So I'm going to start off by saying welcome to everybody in the audience that are commenting, that are going to give us their questions, their opinions, everything, because this is an interactive show. So we want your participation, and I want to say welcome to you live. Hey to the live crew, the live people that are here in the audience, and to the replay viewers. We're glad you're here too. Please put all of your questions, comments, anything you have to say, put it in the comments, because we check this after the show is over. It's not like a one and done where it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we're done and we're not interacting with the audience. So replay viewers, please, we're glad you're here. And interact, and also share this out, because like I said, this information is new, and we're going to get started on the basics of it today, and what I know and what we know so far, because this is new. I want to say rules, legislation it has to do with Europe, but it affects people in the United States, also businesses in the United States. So, hi, Kim. Yes, I saw you over on May Anna from Blog Aid, which is a good site to check out. Blog Aid on Facebook. Just type in Blog Aid. Is May Anna Stevenson, that she talks about WordPress, web hosting, all of that background, back end stuff, technical side of websites, and she gives out good information on Tuesday. So she has a newsletter. Sign up for it on Blog Aid on her website and on Facebook, and she's on YouTube, I believe. Okay, so that's all of the stuff out of the way. Now, GDPR, what is it, and why should we care? So I'm going to give you a little rundown before we start. Yeah, May Anna is awesome. She is. I talk about her all the time. She's great. So check out Blog Aid. But let's get back to GDPR. So you may or may not know that there's been some privacy issues in the last few weeks, probably the last month or two, with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. That's been in the news. Everybody's concerned about privacy and data usage and who has rights to use your data and what should you do and all the settings and all that. So that's a big issue, and it's still going on because we have something now called GDPR, which is General Data Protection Regulation. So I'm going to give you the detail from Wikipedia, and you can find this on Wikipedia, but I'm going to read it so we all are on the same page. So General Data Protection Regulation is a regulation in EU law on data protection and privacy for all individuals within the European Union. So it addresses the export of personal data outside the EU. So the GDPR aims primarily to give control to citizens and residents over their personal data and to simplify the regulatory environment for international business by unifying the regulation within the EU. It was adopted on April 27, 2016. It becomes enforceable on May 25th, 2018, and they had a 2-year transition period, and they had another data protection directive that they had set up in 1995. So this is to replace their existing data protection directive. So that's the technical definition of the GDPR. But basically what it is it's ruling that they put in place to protect the personal data of individuals in the European Union, because we are living now in an increasingly data-driven world. Everybody's connected to their phones. Everybody, you love to go to Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter, Instagram. We visit websites to do comparison shop. You want to look up a product. You want to talk to friends. All the things that you do online. So we're an internet data-driven world, and the policies that we had in place, especially in the United States, I don't even know we have any kind of directive. But Europe has always been ahead of the curve on this, but they really put their foot down, and they're saying, listen, we're protecting our citizens. And so now we can say, well, that's the EU, that's Europe. What does that have to do with us? Well, if you have a website or an app or anything that's on the internet where you interact with anyone from Europe or any other countries that have some kind of data protection or privacy laws, you have to be compliant. Now, what does that mean? That compliant means that you have to be aware of what's going on, and you have to kind of be in the guidelines of what that country or those countries or whatever the ruling is. You have to be aware of it first. So compliance means awareness first. So that's the part that we're doing right now. I want to make sure that we are aware, because this is new. It's new. It's just coming out. It's not going into effect to almost the end of the month. We are still gathering data on it. I'm still reading about it. You may not have known about it. If you haven't, you're now finding out what it is. So you can definitely go to Google and search. And I also put in some links on this post on my page, because Barb in Born to Stream Live group, she has some great links to some GDPR resource websites to ask questions and everything. So this is not. We're not going to get into the legalities of it and you know what you should do and what. We're just going to do the basics and the guidelines. If you're not sure about it from a legal standpoint, then definitely that's a place where you talk to your legal representation. And you also definitely want to talk to the person that's running your website, the webmaster or the person that is, you know, designing your website. They should know, or they should be trying to get up to speed.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Now, I have a question. It says that this is for the EU. What does that do for the UK that just voted to come out of the EU?
Now that you're talking about the Brexit, which is a little different thing than what we're talking about. This is privacy laws as far as European nations go, because they have different. For example, they have laws over there that you, when you take pictures of, you see pictures of celebrities on, you know, entertainment websites, they blur the faces of the children because they have a law saying that a minor cannot be photographed and put in a publication, as far as, you know, like paparazzi.
Yeah.
Those kind of websites. So if you go over to some of the sites like Daily Mail, UK, and places, if they have pictures with children, minor children, they would be blurred out. So that's one of the laws that they have that we don't have, and it has to do with privacy. So the privacy issue and the Brexit is kind of two different things.
So it really doesn't, okay, because when we say EU, I'm thinking European Union. Okay, but this Europe as a whole, even though they have a different monetary system, this has nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with their internet system.
This has to do with privacy and internet access. What kind of data you can collect and what you do with the data. So now, if you don't know what the EU is, it's a political economic union of 28 countries. So if you go to Wikipedia and type in European Union, you'll get the list of the countries that are there. So I'm not going to list them all, but that's what they're, you know, they have a collective where they act as a collective whole, as one unit to, as far as Brexit, which is one of the things that, you know, has to do with the UK and leaving the union and all that stuff. But let's get into the privacy and internet issue. So this is what it has to do with the privacy and internet issues of its citizens.
Okay, got it.
Right. So this is about the citizens and residents. And if they interact with your website or app or whatever, you have to have certain things put in place to allow them to control the data that you collect. Okay, so what's some of the data that you collect?
Okay, so then
you have a website.
You get an email.
And you have cookies enabled, or you track their IP address as far as using Google Analytics on your website. That is a part of this. If you collect email addresses, that is a part of this. You're getting personal information from those citizens. Now, how do you know if someone from one of these countries is coming over to your website? Well, you should have Google Analytics or some other type of website analytics installed on the server, or the web hosting companies will give you that information where you can see where the visitors are come from. But most people will install Google Analytics.
Yep.
And that's a product by Google that lets you see who visits your website, where they come from, what operating system they use, what browser they use, what time of day, if they're online. There's a lot of data information with Google Analytics. So if you have that installed, you'll be able to see. Also, like I said, your web hosting account can give you that information. It's also accessible through your cPanel. And if you don't know what the cPanel is, then ask the person that's taking care of your website or the company or whatever that you need to access and see if you're getting any visitors from the European countries. So you can find out that.
Cool. Very
okay.
cool.
So are we clear about the GDPR, what it is, and why we should care about it? Because you may have a website, and if you run a business, I hope that you do, and you may be getting visitors from these countries, and you may be tracking their IP address, or you may be asking them for their email address when you have your opt-in pop-up, or whatever way that you have on your website where you say, I have a free ebook, put in your email address, your name and your email address. Or some people do name, email address, and other information.
Correct.
All of that falls under this because you're asking that person to give up their information. And if they do, everything's okay. But you have to now have a place where you have a privacy page where you explain what you collect and what you do with the information.
Yes.
If you do anything with it, like if you're going to sell it to a third party service, and a lot of websites do that, you have to disclose that. And that's all in the privacy page, the privacy policy that you should have on your website, because we're talking about EU, but there are some states in the United States that require you to have a privacy policy in place on the front page. California is one of them. Yep. I believe there's a couple others, but California has a law that if any resident of California comes to your website, you must have a link that says privacy policy, and they must be able to click on it and read all of the things that you do when they interact with your website. Like I said, collecting data, name, email address, birthday, whatever the information. Okay, so it's not even just the European Union. It's some states in America have that. So a lot of people don't know that. But there's not the government isn't going around fining us, giving you a fine or telling you whatever. If it happens and you don't know about it, you don't know about it. But now you do, because all of this is coming up to the surface where we have to know about privacy issues. People are concerned about what you do with their email address. I mean, you probably won't be doing anything bad with it, but it's just, this is the world we're in where people want to know. So you want to make that information above board. And so, like I said, you make a privacy policy, and all the privacy policy is a page on your website where you're going to have that information. There are, you can Google privacy policy. There are places where you can pay to have someone write one for you, or there's some free sites. Yep. And you decide which one you want to use. But you need to have it just to cover yourself as a business owner.
Correct.
But this is really what we're talking about today, is covering your business and not saying, well, I don't know, I didn't know. It's going to come to a day where they're going to, we put the policy in place on May 25th. You didn't know. That's not an excuse. And I'm pretty sure there may be like a honeymoon period, or a period where, you won't be fined. But there'll be a period where they'll say, okay, everybody should know. You should all, try to get information if you don't know. And this is the period where we say, okay, this is when we're really going to start levying fines and sending you letters from lawyers and saying you're going to open up a letter saying I owe $10,000 or whatever the fine is. I don't know if it's going to be that much. That was just a number that popped into my head, but they are going to enforce fines.
And I had something happen. I was in MailChimp because I was sending something out, and I was creating a new list. Mm-hmm. And it asked, do you want this to be GDPR compliant? Because it will put all of the fields in the list.
Yes, yes, because when you have a form, like Fran is saying with MailChimp, you're setting up an email form because, like I said, you may have an opt-in, a freebie, a checklist, a free ebook. You want them to listen to your podcast, whatever it is, and you have a form. That's a pop-up form, contact form, any kind of form where you have name, email address, and all the other stuff that you ask. You need to have a little checkbox. like Fran said. So MailChimp is already there. A lot of the bigger, larger corporations that have to deal with this are already there in the sense of giving you tools. So MailChimp is one of those that they're there saying, we're going to help our customers because you have to be GDPR compliant because you have a website, because you're using a form on your website. So see how that works.
And Kim was asking if someone doesn't collect email addresses, I wonder if they still need a privacy policy. Yes,
well, it's a good idea, Kim, because like I said, like the state of California requires one, whether you collect data or not, because you have the issue of IP addresses and cookies. You have the cookie issue. Yep. So California is one of them. I believe there's 2 or 3 others. I'll have to double check and I'll put that information out. But there are states, and you don't know that because people think, oh, it's easy to get a website. I'll just get the web hosting. I'll, install WordPress or Squarespace or whatever system you use. And then you go, okay, I'm fine. I'm in business. I don't have to have a privacy policy. Have you ever gone to the web? There's a website, The Next Web, which talks about technology news. And there's a couple others. But The Next Web has a really not strange, unusual pop-up that it'll come when you go to thenextweb.com. It'll have a picture of a man with a cookie on his eye. And they say, something about the cookie, and if you're okay with us collecting cookies, you have to click the okay button. But that one stands out to me. But there's lots of other websites that when you go to them, they say we have a cookie policy. You must, comply by clicking yes or okay.
In order to access the data on this site, you're going to need to agree to the policy for cookies.
To accept cookies, and they track your IP address. It's nothing nefarious. They've been doing this for a while. It's just that the fact, like I said, privacy issues are rising up to the top. It's an issue that was always in the background, and people ignored it. But California did not, and a couple other states did not, because they're keeping up with, okay, Kim says she's seen that. Good. And I mentioned The Next Web because that one was one of the more creative ones, with a man with a cookie on his eye, and you got to say, okay, got it. But there's some others that say, whatever cookies, and you have to accept if you want to read the information, and you just click okay and you go about your business. So that situation, they're not collecting email. You're not inputting anything. You're not typing anything like an email address, your name, address. But your computer, your browser is interacting with their website, and data is being exchanged in the background. Like I said, they may have Google Analytics or some other analytics software that lets them know demographics.
Now,
okay, so that's what we're getting into that.
Now, I think also, well, I've experienced this, when you are setting up your pay, where you want to collect payments online, whether you're using PayPal or something else, Square, or any other company, some of those places ask you for you have to have a privacy policy already in place.
Yes, before if you're doing e-commerce, you're setting up an e-commerce store. Shop, like if you're using Shopify or whatever, they tell you, when you sign up for Shopify, they could have all these courses and information and things to tell you what you need to know in order to have an e-commerce store where you're selling goods and services.
Yep.
Okay. So you have, and then if you're dealing with PayPal or Stripe or any of those others, that layer's always been there. That's always been there, where they have, because they're financial institutions and they have those privacy things in place.
Yep.
But we're talking about, you just have a generic old website where you're not selling anything. You still have to have a privacy policy. You still have to have something that says, like Fran says, if you have a form, a contact form or a sign up form or whatever form, if you use MailChimp, and I'm pretty sure the others are going to do it also, they'll have a little check mark. And you put that on the form now, and it lets the person that is filling out the form decide that if they want to fill out the form, and that check mark is going to protect you, because there'll be a way for them to access the data. That's really what this is about. You can collect the data, but the GDPR is now saying you have to have a way for those residents of the EU to ask you for their data. That's really what this is.
Oh, so we're going back
to have a way to give it to them.
So we're basically telling them you're giving us permission. If you come in because of our privacy policy, means that you're giving us permission to access your data.
The privacy policy is a document that explains what you do with the information.
And if they continue,
they are agreeing to it.
Exactly.
They're agreeing to your website collecting email addresses.
Or whatever data, the IP address.
Whatever data, the cookies, the IP, picking up the IP address from the browser, all of those things have been done in the background for as long as the internet's been going on.
Oh, we talked about this before, and Seth Godin mentioned this. He said we gave up privacy a long time ago when we signed up for the diner's card or for one of the credit cards. You gave up your privacy, and the credit card company probably knows a whole lot more about you than some of the internet companies.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought up Seth Godin, because I pulled up something. He had a blog post. I think it's his current one. If you go to Seth Godin, and I wanted to put the link in, I will put the link in. But he has written a post about GDPR and marketers. So what he's saying is, pull it up because I have it. I want to read it. My computer is okay. Let me pull it up. So Seth Godin, he says, Godin calls the GDPR, and this is quotes, a net positive for people with something to say, something to sell, or something to change, because the noise will go down and trust will go up. The law will clear the field of the worst actors, and the rest will find themselves in an open field where it will be easy to stand out. Now, he also says this is going to bring about a clearing of the air where on the internet you're going to be able to talk. You should talk to people who want to be talked to, market to people who want to be marketed to, because anticipated, personal, and relevant messages will always outperform spam. And spam is in the eye of the recipient. And he says, in 2 simple words, ask first. So that's really what this is. And I'm glad he said that. You're asking first. On that form, like Fran says, and MailChimp has a little check mark, and you check that, you're agreeing to it. If you don't check it, then you're not agreeing to giving up your information. So this is all about getting permission. Because before we were just doing it. We were just, just get an email. Oh, don't worry about privacy. I'm not doing anything. Oh, don't worry about the cookies. But now it's like everything has stopped. Privacy policy, privacy and data is an issue with users. It's a big deal now. So they want to know. You get in my email address. What are you going to do with it? Oh, I'm just going to store it in my Excel file. Okay, good. Now, if I want it back, you have to give me a way to get it back, or you have to delete it, or you have to inform me that you deleted it. See how that works?
Yeah, because sometimes when you go in and unsubscribe, they take you through this whole maze,
right,
before you can actually unsubscribe. I appreciate the people who just say, okay, you're unsubscribed. Don't take me to another website or take me someplace else and ask me.
Now we're going to have to do that where, they're going to have to say, okay, you want to unsubscribe? What do you want me to do with your information? Do you want me to give it to you, send it to you in email, fax it to you, mail it to you? Do you want proof that I deleted it? What do you want me to do, and how do you want? So it's all the control is now in the person that visits your website, and you have to have a system, a way for them to either get the information back, or you delete it and you inform them that you deleted it. Right. So we're getting into the technical part of it, which I didn't want to get into yet, because I want to get into this is some of the areas where this GDPR affects. One is consent. We just talked about that. Consent is what? The form. And they're saying now you need to get explicit consent. That's that check mark.
And that's what Seth said. You are going to ask up front. it's always better to ask permission. May I have a glass of water? Not just go up in the refrigerator and start taking stuff. You ask.
Right. So these days of, the internet was, I think of the internet as a wild, wild west before today. Anything goes, everything went, nobody was checking around. You had local sheriffs doing, the deputy, the marshal came riding around to the farm and checked, and he went on about his way. And while he was gone, everything was, shooting and hollering, hooping, so that's how I think of it. So, but now the police have stepped in. There's a system in place. There's checks and balances, and this should not alarm you, because if you're just collecting, say, IP addresses, that's what's going on in the background anyway when you have a website. So that's not something that you can control.
I'm going to go on a different direction here. Why do you suppose the United States did not come up with this first? Or okay, because we got is the net neutrality thing only limited to the United States, or is that everywhere?
Now repeat that, because I was looking at Jason was giving me some technical feedback.
Now you do. Okay, so why the United States did not have something of this nature in place, or was that what our net neutrality was?
Okay, think about the hearing we had, was it 2 weeks ago, where Mark Zuckerberg went to Congress?
Yes.
It was a whole, kind of a backlash and kind of an old crap moment. The government doesn't know anything what they're talking about with technology, because they are 10 steps behind private industry. And I know that for a fact because I work there. I work both private and government. So I know the government is behind. I can tell you 100% that technology is behind. So they're behind. That means the senators and congressmen and all those people are behind. That's really what this is, that Europe has always been ahead of us as far as privacy laws and protecting the rights of its citizens as far as being on the internet. They've always been ahead. They've had stuff in place since 1995. And this is a redefinement or a fine-tuning of what they did in 1995. So they've always been concerned. We have never been concerned because, we have the stuff with net neutrality. We still have people that don't understand what net neutrality is. So you have a whole knowledge issue, which is all of that is bubbling. You're seeing it bubble up to the surface with this Facebook Cambridge Analytica thing. It's like everybody woke up and pulled their head out of the sand, and now they're going, privacy, where it's always been an issue. Yeah. And we have been behind. Yes, you're right. We've been behind. So what do we do?
Because we don't have anything, but because of the GDPR, people are putting things into place to make sure that they are compliant, which is going to help us in the United States as well. If I'm correct in that, I'm going to say assumption in that view, I think it's going to help us cover ourselves, but it's also going to help the citizens of the United States as well, because we have to be GDPR compliant for everybody else in Europe. It would have been nice if we would have, take our citizens into consideration with privacy. And I think that's what the net neutrality was. Well, that just gives us access to the net with it being free. But this is really interesting, because you give away your privacy. There is no more privacy, hasn't been for a long time. You step out the house, you're on the camera.
Exactly. So we have to get used to that as a nation. And like I said, the Facebook blow up with Cambridge Analytica, it put the cover back on everything. You saw the level of knowledge or what they know in government, because you're thinking that they know, but they really don't, because they had questions. Their pages and interns had the questions for those. And I'm sorry to say, those older people They don't know and don't care about the internet. And that is a dangerous thing in an internet-driven world. We're in an internet-driven world. So you have to have the knowledge. You have to have the awareness. You have to pay attention. And that's what we're doing here. That's my intent, to make you guys know, to bring you aware of this is an issue that's either on the table right now or it's coming. And you need to know because it's going to affect your business. Really, that's what this is going to affect your business. So you need to be prepared. What's that Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the puck is going. That's what we're doing here.
Yep. Because this is not just for business. This is actually for your life. Because now Facebook took one for the entire
they did.
internet team. They took one for the team. Because all of a sudden, everybody has noticed. I got things from everybody that I've signed up for. Oh, we have a new policy. We need you to agree to this, and we need you to agree to that. And then I was like, whoa.
And right now, Mark Zuckerberg is talking at the F8, which is the Facebook for Developers Conference.
Yes.
And I was reading a little bit about that all of and these are the developers, these are the software companies and these guys that write programs that interact with Facebook. They're not happy because all of their systems, all of their apps, their websites are broken. Because remember, we said, if you went to a website to sign up for an account and they said, oh, put in an email address, password, or use your Facebook to connect. And you said, oh, it's so easy to connect with Facebook. I'll just click that little blue button and everything will be great. Well, now all of that is broken. So these developers are upset because that API that door has been closed to them because Facebook has closed the door and it's looking at everything. It's pulling out the plugs and looking under the hood and looking at each server.
I'm the one that stares up. Okay, I'm going to do like Terry does and come in here and start a fire and then leave the room. Okay, this is like what happened at Starbucks, where the girl did one thing and messed it up for everybody in Starbucks. Yes. This is what Cambridge Analytica did. They came in and was unethical, and now it messed it up for everybody.
But, and like I said, we talked about Seth, but Seth looks at this as a positive because he says you break it and now you fix it.
Exactly.
That's how he's looking at it.
And I agree because something had to be done. Okay, maybe we shouldn't have been trusting everybody to come in the house and just, and
you're
not.
Right. You're right. I mean, no, you're right.
Correct. Right. Just don't, okay, you can't just trust people to come in your house and they're going to do right.
Exactly. Like I said, we talked about it. I said Facebook invited Cambridge Analytica. Come on in and look at our data, but only look at this part. Now I'm leaving the room. Don't touch anything else. And they all in left the room. They went and looked at everything. So
they just sent all of the bills and going looking up under stuff. It's like, okay.
They looked in the medicine cabinet, looked under the bed. They got data from everywhere. And Facebook didn't know because they left the room. Which, like I said, Facebook has the best cost of the brunt. That's why they're taking, like Fran said, they're taking it for the team because they know they messed up. I really think they messed up because they have our data. Even though this is a free platform, you sign up and you agree terms of service, terms of use, and everything. But users are innocent in this, but no more. But they were innocent. But now they're not because now, like I said, you turn the earth over and the earthworms are coming out. Everything's coming up.
Yep.
Getting ready to plant for, the new what's to come. And like I said, the net neutrality is changing things. The privacy laws, privacy data. Data usage, and now we have GDPR from across the pond. We got to deal with that too.
And it's putting pressure. A lot to deal with. It's putting pressure on us. Has anybody, or have you seen the commercial that Facebook put out? It was running last night.
No, I didn't see it.
It was interesting because, they were talking about how he had already talked about going back to just friends and family and the reasons. He's going back to why Facebook was put together in the first place. And it talked about, the fake news and some other stuff. He said no more. it's going back to the way it was originally meant, for you to share moments with your family, to share moments with your friends and friends of friends, but not necessarily the way that some people may have wanted it to go.
Right. And this and I look at the whole overall, because I'm in a lot of groups, different types of topics and different groups, and I see people that, there's groups of people where they set up, they're doing e-commerce, and they figured out, well, you do this, you do that, you do that, and your money comes in automatically. Then you got other places where, we're doing it, the slow and steady way, and we're doing great content, and we're building relationships. So you have two sides of that coin, and I'm looking at it going, the people that are, grabbing while the API was open, that door is closed. So what are they going to do now? Because they didn't build a business. They just set up a shop and said, well, we're going to, do this and do that. And we're going to, make money. And it's just coming in, and they're not paying attention.
They didn't build trust.
Set it and forget it. Right.
They didn't build trust.
Coming to an end. That's coming to an end.
That one and done stuff is it's not good. And because now you don't have anybody to talk to. And now you're going to have to, all that time you spent, if you did the one and done, all that time that you spent doing that one and done, you have to start all over again to even build relationship with somebody.
Right. They got to start. They got to do the stuff that we're doing. The old, and I watched one of Gary's video where he had the father and son, they have a YouTube channel where they cut things open.
Yes.
And they were talking about, people call in and ask questions. There's one guy, I got a YouTube channel, and it's been 2 months, and it's not growing, and people are not watching and whatever. And they're giving him advice, but he's not listening. And so the father said, listen, we did a whole bunch of videos that did nothing, that did not go anywhere. But we stuck with it, and we found the thing that worked. The audience was the cutting open of things. But he said when they started he said, I've had several businesses, I had several channels, nothing clicked, nothing worked, but I kept at it. So people have got this attitude, well, it's real easy, the internet. I'll just set up a store, I'll do Shopify, I'll do this, I'll run a couple ads, and boom, boom, boom. Like you said, make sales, and passive income, set it and forget it. All those buzzwords. All of that stuff is not going to work anymore, because now you got to go back to old school marketing where you
get rich quick never did work.
No, it didn't.
But somebody thought it might.
But they thought it did because everything was open. Facebook was open. All the API was there. All you had to do was connect. Nobody was minding the store. You know how you have a security guard at the entrance, say they're going to Paramount or one of the studios in California, and how they have the guard and they check the ID and all that. And
you're not on the list.
They were just sitting there not checking IDs, just going, waving people in, because nothing happened. Nothing bad, no catastrophe. Well, the catastrophe happened, and now they gotta go, oh crap, we gotta fix
so they had to change the guard at the door.
Yes.
Okay. Charles
is out. A lot with businesses with backup systems. This is a big thing. We talked about a lot. A lot of people that our other business is, servicing computers and networks and everything. And we talk to businesses about having a backup, doing a backup, making sure everything's secure. You know how many businesses go, oh, well, we don't need to do that. Nothing's going to happen. Okay. Because when something happens, then you're going to come back and go, well, I can't get my file. I can't get my this. I can't get my that. Well, did you do a backup? No. Well, then what do you want us to do?
What do you want to do? And there is so many things that happen with technology that, there's people who are trying to mess up technology. There's the people that Terry calls nefarious, where that's their whole line of work, is to try and steal something from you. So you got that. Then you have just the whoops, I pulled the plug and I didn't mean to, and now my stuff is gone. Or you didn't know what you were doing, you pushed the wrong button and erased all your stuff. You still
need. It's so easy to get a backup. You can go to backup. I think it's Backup Blaze, like $5 a month, and it backs up your computers. I mean, if you have a more complicated computer system or networking, of course you need something more complicated. But I don't understand what people go, well, I don't need the backup, or I didn't think about it. And
planning. They're small now. They're tiny little things. You plug it up and you push the button, and it'll back it up for you.
Yep. But people won't do that. And then they go, well, I can't get my files because, well, you got a virus. Well, okay, and you may not be able to recover your files because, did you have a backup? Did you have a daily backup? Did you have a weekly backup? Did you have a monthly backup? Oh, we got to do all that. Yeah, because the backup could fail.
Correct.
So you need a backup to the backup.
And the cloud is one way of doing it, but something happened to the cloud and it goes down, then okay.
That's why you need
a backup.
A server, or you need an external drive in addition to your cloud. I've got things backed up several places, and people go, why? Well, if it's something like, I have some video of my mom that she's no longer with. So I have video of her that is in several places. So if I lose the tape, because that's how long ago it was on a little digital tape, but I have it backed up digitally several places. So that's something important to me. So I'm going to make sure I have more than one copy. So is your business data and information important to you? Then you should have more than one copy running around somewhere, because that's called data, disaster preparedness. You do it for hurricanes, you do it for tornadoes, you do it for weather, do it for your business.
And then you want to, especially if you're in a business where you have customer data that has sensitive information, like the social security numbers and that type of stuff, you kind of want to make sure their stuff is protected as well.
Exactly. And when I worked for the federal government, the agency I worked for, we had an office here in New York, but we had a whole backup thing in another state. It wasn't even in New York. It was in another state. And then there's a backup for everything in another state, in North Carolina. So there's backup over here and a backup down there. But that's how it is. If you're dealing with important data, you have to make sure that everything is protected. So this is what this GDPR is about. They're now saying, listen, our residents of Europe, they deserve to be able to control their information.
I think it's a good idea.
Give them a way to do it.
And because we're used to it, because every time you have something on your app that comes up, it wants to allow, like you're getting ready to take a picture, or you want to use the app it has to get permission for it to use something on your camera.
Right.
You have to allow it permission to access your photos, to access this, and it has to ask you for permission. It just can't go in there and start, downloading photos. And I think there was something with the keyboards at one time where it was a problem because people were coming and hacking through.
Yes, they could record the keystrokes what you typing in. So you want to, you need to be careful of that.
And that's why I stopped.
Ask first. He said ask first.
And that's why I like the little emojis that make them look like you and all of that. But I'm like, yeah, okay, because there was a warning that came across that says, access to this could be and I was like, okay, well, I just won't have no cute, funny little something on my phone.
And it's cute, and everybody's doing it, but you should think about it. Why do I want to give up access to this app, and it may access other parts of my phone and get data from another app or another part of my phone? You don't want to do that.
So here's the thing. Here's what I'm hearing as the overarching thing. Protect your own privacy.
Yes.
Don't give up everything. Don't tell everybody what you got in the back room, or don't tell everybody what's in the vault. Don't give everybody access. Be very selective about what information that you give out.
And in the case of, this ruling, you have a business website, you're going to have people come from everywhere. I've looked at my own website. I've seen people in Australia and different places, and you go, wow, you never think about that. You think, oh, I'm in America, so maybe just people in America are watching. But no, you have an international audience. So that community is now saying, when my people come and visit your website and you're in America, you got to ask them for consent. You got to give them a right to access, a right to be forgotten, and breach notification. Those are some of the things that in the technical, getting into details of it. Those are some of the things that are in this ruling that you have to get the consent.
And I think, Terry, we can talk about the technical stuff on Friday when we start talking tech, because yes, you do need to know some things about tech. We really do. It's just part of what we are. We are in an online world.
Exactly. And think about all of the data breaches that have happened over the years. It was Target and
Experian.
Experian. There was a couple others, Yahoo, and all of that. Just think about all of that that's going on. That now everybody, like I said, was the Wild Wild West, and everybody was like, yeah, okay, we'll just patch it and fix it a little bit over there. But Europe has now said, well, we got a whole blanket protection for our citizens, and this is something that you have to be aware of.
And if you're going to do business in Europe, which you probably do anyway, you really need to have that stuff in place.
Yes, and and what we're talking about is just basically how website visitors. But like Fran said, there's a whole industry where if your business is actually doing business with Europe, as far as goods and services and stuff, there's a whole nother level to this that you have to look at. You have to look at vendors. You have to make sure your vendors are compliant with the ruling. I put some links in posts so that there has questions about that side of it. Like if you're doing business with a third party vendor that has an effect on your business or your website, you may want to look at that. So like I said, this is the beginning of getting compliant, and we'll definitely have another show about it closer to May 25th, because there'll probably be some people writing posts and stuff saying this is what you do, step 1, step 2. So we'll definitely go over that when it gets closer to the 25th.
Yeah, this has been very good information, TJ. We really appreciate you bringing it to us, because we always want to help you take the hassle out of your hustle. And this is part of that, because it's going to be a hassle if you don't have a privacy policy in place, and you just need to know.
Definitely. So a couple of things have come out of what we talked about today. So you need to know what GDPR is, how it affects your business, your website, what you need to do, and like Fran said about MailChimp, if you got an account with MailChimp and you have an email list, you go over to MailChimp and see what they have to say about GDPR
compliance.
Some of the other email providers, they probably have something similar. So whoever you use, go over to them right now, go to their website and check it out and see what they recommend for you to do.
And if they don't have anything in GDPR compliant and they're going like, what's that? You need to get a new provider.
You need to switch. Because they, like I said, MailChimp already was on it. I think I got an email from my email provider. So definitely check it out. Learn, check out what you need to know. Don't panic, because like I said, we wanted to go over this and just go over the basics of what it is, how it affects you. Because a lot of people go, well, that's Europe. What does that have to do with me? But it has a lot to do with you if you have a website.
Yep.
So you have to think about what you need to know. Check with the people that you need to check with. Google it if you want. I put some links in the comments here, so check some of those out. There will be more information as we get closer to May 25th. So check my page, Sherry Johnson Online. Check the BizChicks page. Also, I'll be talking about this in Attention Necessary. That's our group where we talk about ways to get attention and grow your business. So that's at attentionnecessary.com. And like I said, make sure to share this out. If you haven't shared it out, please do. Because, there are people that may not know, or they know about it and think it doesn't apply to them, which if you have a website, it does. So at the minimum, you need to investigate it, read up on this, and see what you need to do. And like Fran said, MailChimp had already sent her an email and showed her what to do, and some of the other email service providers for email marketing, they'll probably send you something. And like she said, if they don't know what to do or they haven't sent you any information, you might want to think about moving to one that does. This might be a good time to move.
And everybody, all of the major, what are they, hosting companies? Everybody is scrambling right now.
Everybody's talking about this. So, like I said, if you have web hosting with a company and they're not emailing you or contacting you about it, you may want to switch, or you may want to call them up and say, hey, what are you guys doing about it? And like Fran said, if they go, well, what is that? That's your key. I might need to switch everything. So it's just protection for you, because you want to be aware. Like I said, we had our heads stuck in the sand with the privacy issue and the net neutrality. So all of these things are turning and changing the internet, and we're going to have a different internet. In a couple of years, everything's going to be different.
And see, okay, change always happens, but are you ready when the change happens? See, right now you're getting an opportunity to prepare for what's coming. Don't stand out there and they done told you the storm is coming and we hanging outside, and then all of a sudden a tornado comes in, and then you stand and you pounding on the cellar door trying to get in.
Exactly. I want to thank everybody that was here today, especially Kim. Kim is new to the show, so welcome,
hey,
Kim. And Kim has been asking questions and her comments, so we love that. Like I said, this is not like a lecture or we talk. This is where we want your opinions, your questions, everything, even after the show. For the replay viewers, if you're still here, I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
Put your comments and questions in there too, because we want to talk about this and learn more, because it's going to, like I said, there's going to be more information coming out. This is starting to be talked about more as we get closer to the deadline. So there'll be more information. So like I said, check my Facebook page, Terry Johnson Online. I may do something on my website. Definitely check.
And please subscribe to our YouTube page, BizChicks TV. You can just type it in and it'll pop up over there. Follow us everywhere. Follow TJ everywhere, at WebGirlTJ on Twitter, and then Terry Johnson Online everywhere else. We just want to say thank you for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else, but you came in and stopped with us, and we appreciate it so very much. We'll be back here same time tomorrow with Coach Karen. Thursday, we're going to be talking health. Friday, we'll talk tech. But every Tuesday, you can always count on TJ to be here, bringing us the very best and the latest to keep us going in social media.
I try.
Yeah, and she does an excellent job with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we will see you all tomorrow. BizChicks keeps rolling every day at 1 p.m., 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We are here all the time.
We will be here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.